the beginning, and everyone's like, see, told you, Counter-Strike. And now Sinatra's playing great. There's no doubt in my mind that this FaZe roster is also going to play really great down the line as well. Like, yeah, this is their first event together, Gaskin, but the skill is there. And I'm always going to say, Corey's a freaking aiming god, okay? The man is a beast. It's only just a matter of time before this team starts winning events themselves. I stand by that statement.
And it makes sense to have him on Arena if he is that aiming god, right? If he can perform and if he can consistently win 1v1s, then he is going to excel on Arena as both players go towards short there and leave themselves somewhat vulnerable to be taken down by Raucus. Not really sure what happened there. No one checking the default box, but Sinatra will at least get a trade of his own. Mark comes in to try and clean things up, which he does successfully, and FaZe put the first on the scoreboard. Now, I mean, I said Reyna should help in the pistol rounds, and you should be able to gain those pistol rounds easily. Well, Reyna didn't actually do too much in the early stages, but was able to pick up the pieces around the map there. That push just coming out onto the A site wasn't quite as swift as maybe Sentinels would have liked, and then elsewhere, Reyna was able to pick up those frags in mid. So, a good start for FaZe, and I think this is what I was going to touch on, is I'm happy they're defending first. I think if we were going to be seeing Sentinels defend first, then we might be witnessing yet another kind of demolishing. But instead now, FaZe can gain a bit of confidence, they can start putting some rounds on the board, and they can start to test the attack of Sentinels on this map.
Well, they're going to be treated to that relatively soon, because in their previous engagement with China Win, just last night, and that was going to be the game that qualified them to get to, well, not the game, they ended up doing it on split, but what they ended up getting on that was 4 defensive round wins versus China Win's 8 at the start. Difference is, though, Gaskin, in that matchup, it actually started with 8 rounds in a row in favor of China Win. So pretty nutty, without a doubt. Now that paranoia is going to come in. Sinatra will be very, very weak. Rockisto on the flank there has a shot with the burst. Corey's going to be tucked in the corner. They're on the hunt for him. If he can get 1 kill, that's going to be a plus. And he pulls away all of that activity. Time has been wasted. Dapper continuing to invest his attention toward this B site. Hasn't really gotten anything out of that yet, though. No progress made.
Pick up a rifle, and that rifle could turn out to be pretty influential in this round. The Bulldog, if he can push in first and get 1 frag here on B site, a plant can come through. Still winnable.
Dapper's going to be weakened, which will leave Sick with no way to be able to heal himself nor his teammate for another 10 seconds. They have no choice but to go into the site here, so low on HP. Shazam, though, inside, managed to squeak his way through. 54 health remaining. Just has a classic. Both players are going to be staring right at him down the sights. Baby Bays, Ghost headshot will close out that round. 2 in a row for FaZe, as expected. But they did lose out a lot of players because of the way things had kind of scrambled there at the beginning of that round, Dan. So they'll just need to invest some new weaponry. Everyone will have some quote-unquote real guns. The action begins.
Yeah, Sentinel's going to have proper rifles. FaZe, they bought up a couple of Bulldogs there and lost them, so it means they are going to have a somewhat skew if buy. We do see Zachary maybe going to go for a little bit of Sova action over on the B site. See if he can get some spray down through the wall, which he probably learnt from the opposition Sova, if I'm completely honest. And he has actually done some pretty early damage in this round too, so Sentinels have been chunked away a little bit towards this B site. I think they're going to have to fall back and maybe get some heals off of Sick, just so they can ensure that they're at least somewhat more healthy when they go for whichever site they decide to push.
Mid push available. They'll have to determine where they will transition from there. Zombs clear, so they'll take mid, but Corey all the way in the back now. The Lear, just enough to kind of give them an idea of how many players are going to be there. Now the Fury is actually going to be in use, and Sinatra does tag, but is not able to finish it up. While that's going on, Rockets does manage to get the kill. Corey backs away inside of the steps and will nail a shot there. That's going to be a second one for him as well. And this is where Reyna will shine, obviously getting kills and being able to utilize her kit to the fullest potential. A round win here for FaZe on defense. They're looking mighty fine now, and they're going to make Sentinels poor in this round, which means that they will not be able to buy up the way that they would want to, and could actually bring FaZe a 4th round win here, Gaskin.
As I said earlier, one thing that Sentinel's very good at doing is winning these eco rounds, winning these thrifties. And I do feel like you've just got to be careful if you're on the side of FaZe here and just watch out for a quick push on one of the sites. Doesn't look it's going to happen on Sentinel's side, though. They're 3 stacked towards A and then 2 maybe going to push towards middle here. Maybe just seeing if anyone's going to get a little bit janky down middle. And I tell you what, there's nothing janky about that. Corey just with some solid shots from the Phantom and able to heal himself up as well. And it's going to be a formality, you would have thought, of this round. FaZe now just trying to finish this one quickly and try and take down the remaining members of Sentinels who are kind of scattered across the map at this point. And there's the final one. Corey gets another frag and he's starting to heat up. And I think that is a really good thing for FaZe. I feel like in this game in particular, on the Reyna, if Corey can consistently hit shots, if he's confident to take these 1v1 gunfights, then that puts FaZe in a fantastic position to try and take this map.
Yeah, it does. And it also gives everyone who's watching right now, I think, just a little bit of hesitation in judging this FaZe roster too quickly. And I wouldn't blame you. We all saw Bind. We saw what happened in that first half. I mean, it was a 12-0 sweep, craziness from Sentinels. But this is a testament to how a team just needs to shake it off, right? Shake it off. Don't worry about that last game. It's in the books. What are you going to do? Worry about what's going to be in front of you here. And if there are players that can actually do it, and people are going to hate me for saying this, it is Overwatch players, because you're dealing with that league play format that you'll win some, you'll lose some. It's stressful. It homestands in that environment. So I think it actually kind of plays to their advantage mentally that they're able to kind of bounce back whenever they feel like things are just going to get a bit of a downturn now. And it seems like we do have a pause currently. Could be a technical pause. I know that Zachary was having some power issues in his home, but he is moving, so I think he'll be okay. And we'll hopefully get the game going, which we have been. So here we go. Now let's see if FaZe can make this 5 in a row.
We're not seeing any stupid pushes from FaZe as well. I mean, do you remember yesterday against 100 Thieves where we saw like a couple of pushes towards A, especially, I mean, the Jet was just pushing out, and I think you described it as like kind of matchmaking pushes that were just unnecessary, and I feel like they've learned from that now. They're a lot more solid in terms of their defense. They're waiting. They're kind of waiting for, instead, Sentinels to make a move here. And Sentinels have made that move. Sick has got the opener. But then we will see Reyna pop her roll and now see what Corey can do. But Sinatra denies it instantly. And it's all going to be down to Mark here. And he's on top of the wall. But it's not going to be enough. But here comes Baby Bait. Perfect prime position with the op.
Yeah, so Sick has the spike and just needed to get out of there. Nowhere real options for him. B-side is going to be available. I believe they maybe saw that the op as well as the Sova were going to be located there. So with those last 2 players, you can actually make the trip and go across. Zom's in the mid. Could actually cut someone off here if they're not careful. But then...
double fake.
Yeah, they go for this double fake. So it looked like they were going to commit to B. Another sound has been made. And that trap wire has been destroyed, but no one is really going to take the bait quite yet. The res, no. It's just not clean. They don't have wall for protection. There you go.
Wait for the bubble.
And he's going to poke him and shot and shoot. Gets it. So in that whole little debate there, I mean, like of what they were going to actually do to try and win this round out. I have the spike. The options now just become severely limited here. He's got to get this plant off, which he will manage to do so. It's just going to be Zachary versus Zoms. 1v1. This round looked like it was actually going to work out very well for FaZe, but Sentinels, wow. I mean, they just went through the ringer there and managed to get that round win. And that is the reason why Sentinels are considered the best team in the game right now. Just the way that they played that, and the plan fell apart. That wall didn't quite cut off the angle where they needed him to, even with Baby Bay sniping quite expertly up top. It just was, it came down to those final few moments here. I can't believe that this happened
Why
too.
does he peek here though with a pistol? Like I don't like that from Baby Bay. I think he's got too excited for the ace, if I'm completely honest. Like he's got a 4K, they've got the position, the player has to get the spike and has to go for the plant. Instead he goes for the peek. I know he's in a vulnerable, wallbangable spot, but I still feel like you can be a little bit more patient there and you don't have to peek with the pistol. Maybe he got a call out to say the player was weak. That can be my only presumption. Either way, it has allowed Sentinels back into the game. And I mean, when the final player had an Odin, it was always going to be the rifle that takes advantage over that in that particular situation. As Dapper gets the opener onto the opposition Cypher, Baby Bay will fall.
And let's not forget, too, the angle as well that he was playing. He knew exactly where he was, his options. The only thing he could realistically do there was maybe wrap around, but even then it would have given up the option. So anyway, here we go now. Onward to this round as Corey tries to throw down a leer that will, you would imagine, would actually attempt to slow them. But what ended up happening was that Six sent a slow orb instead, preventing them from being able to make their way through trees. Rockets misses that op shot, but will be good for the second. One player's going to be located inside of Hell, one over by Wine. Marv playing the flank. Now, though, as they have to just get back inside of here. But Dapper is going to be on the wider flank. So Marv was waiting for anyone that could be rotating from mid. But instead, it's going to be Dapper on the hunt. And Dapper's going to locate these two players here. The stun comes out right at the nick of time. Dapper knew he had two. Raucus, a kill for him. But instead, it is going to be successful for Sentinels.
Now, this is where Sentinels can start to pick up a little bit of pace, and if they can damage FaZe's economy enough to reset them, that's when the confidence might just start eking out a little bit from the FaZe roster. Great rotation here from Dapper.
And the stun, too.
Yeah, just get behind and then work together, using those abilities, having the stun from the breach. And the money just about there for FaZe, but this is going to be their last buy now. If they don't win this round, they will be right back down to the bottom. Zachary 0-3 at the moment, hasn't been having much success, but I guess the B site has been avoided ever since he has been trying those plays with the Odin. He did a lot of damage in rounds though, so it's not too much to worry about at the moment, the 0-3 scoreline. Corey looking to get a little bit aggressive here though, GB.
The drone will clear him out. No follow-up there. Oh, that's going to hurt. So Shazam, I think, thought that maybe he could throw something over there to try and throw out Marv from Wine. But instead, Marv, he's pinned. He's pinned with no legitimate options. But the TP is going to give him exactly what he needs. Wine is now cleared. They linger now about in mid. Still playing over here on wide side. Wide open. Marv poked, and I think it's just Marv being great at harassing and forcing just a lot of attention in his direction. Even with 78 health at the time, he's still very useful for his team.
Sentinels, they were heading towards A, but now looks like changing that up, and they are going to head towards B.
I have the spike.
And they're going to have to go quickly here. Only 20 seconds. They've not left themselves with much time to work with whatsoever, and they have to go through Cypher's traps and Cypher's cages too. And we've got the teleport from the Omen right into Boathouse. So suddenly that 2 on site becomes a 3. Only 8 seconds left. And you have to go now. You need to get the plant. But Zachary will deny. Sinatra. Raucus gets one onto Dapper. And that's going to be the round for FaZe. Sentinels just taking a little bit too long to decide where they wanted to go. I know they lost the early player, so they were always going to be at a disadvantage, but I would just like to see a little bit more of a decisive nature about them. But that's good news for FaZe. If you can make Sentinels feel indecisive, it means you are doing your job correctly. You are dropping back to the site, you're making them feel uncomfortable, you're not making them feel like any site is easy and up for grabs. So FaZe, playing this one well so far.
This is what FaZe needed, folks. They needed a bounce back to show that what happened on Vine could contribute once again to one of those slow starts that they had talked about actually on Twitter. I saw a few of them. And I'm still quite proud of them for how they've been playing. I come from the Overwatch community, so I know these guys very well. I know how competitive they can be. So credit to them for jumping right into the lion's den, if you will, of professional Valorant here in North America. In your own tournament, nonetheless, doesn't make life easier for them. You'll see Sentinels just continue to group around with one another because they're by. They don't have anything to really work with. Just some SMGs and pistols. Marv with a cheeky angle against this box, anticipating a push. Will have a paranoia that can actually punish and might actually opt to use it once he hears this drone. First kill is going to be coming through in a second. That's going to be the second for him and the third. Maybe a fourth if this player pushes. Oh my goodness, Marv. He wants his ace, but he only has 1 HP remaining. He's going to go in for the fight, and Zachary is there. Hey, that's okay. You'll take it. I was excited for you though, Marv. I wanted you to pop off. 1 HP in a dream, but we'll go ahead and take the 4 for that. And Zachary, you darn kill stealer.
And the Sova drone just not quite spotting him out there. You saw he kind of dipped there and looked like he was just going to try and take an angle, maybe. And then he comes, the Sova drone came back just to be like, oh, I promise I checked that corner, guys. But in the
Hey guys,
end,
I found him.
Yeah, Sinatra will fall, and his drone just not quite seeking out Marv. Marv taking a nice aggressive angle there in the end. 6-2 though, and Sentinels can now buy out again. The early paranoia will come out, but Corey has been able to reposition himself into this little cubby, which often is checked very early, so I'm not surprised he has moved away from it ever so slightly, because it is a vulnerable position at times, but he gets the spray down, and he'll get the overheal now, and he will just challenge and face. Maybe should have dropped off rather than facing after that, but at least he was able to get the opening pick.
He wanted to eke away as much of that health as he could, right? It's a matter of when is the best possible time to back up. But Zachary was there and helped him out a great deal. Now it's a 2v2 with 2 rather healthy members of FaZe versus Shazam at 31 HP, and I believe Sinatra is going to be even lower. No, he's going to be around the same area of 32 HP. Both of them are just going to have to play around for one another here. A site is empty, which they will be able to get into if they opt. They cannot make any noise. They don't know that these 2 players are going to be sacked there. Now, actually, they're going to run right into Rock, as they should be seeing him if he comes around this corner. But I like the way that they're just doing their due diligence, scouting all the different areas. And even for FaZe, they've waited this one out an ample amount of time. They see B site doesn't really have any activity going on. That's going to prompt them to have to make the rotation happen. And more clear for FaZe. Brilliantly done. Spike now in play. Let's see what the team with the life lead can actually do here. FaZe wins this round. Could be pretty big for them.
Shazam does have ult as well. Rolling Thunder could come out and, of course, can deny a plant if they can delay for long enough, but they don't really have the health totals to be playing Ring Around the Rosies and try and do anything. Sinatra, though, will get the opener onto Baby Bay, and Shazam comes through. The bait and switch is perfect. They repositioned themselves excellently for that post plant, especially when they didn't have the information as to where they were going to be pushed from originally. They were very hesitant as to where they wanted to position themselves around that generator, because they didn't know if they could get pushed from long, didn't know if they could get pushed from short. In the end, they did it flawlessly, and Sentinels put a third on the board, and I think that's going to be a tough pill to swallow for FaZe, because they had the health advantage very firmly there. Yeah.
Everything was going to work out for them, but unfortunately, it is Sentinels that, through that teamwork, man, you said it best, just the trading that they have for each other. Hunter's Fury now being played out. Rockets gets a snipe off screen against Zoms. We'll give them that man advantage, and Corey and Marv have actually taken full control of mid as the map continues to shrink more and more. It works out for them, but Corey actually looked away at the worst possible time. He did get the kill on Sick, and Sick was not able to pop the res at that moment. It didn't look like it went off on the feed, so I don't think he actually achieved his goal of reviving his teammate.
Got you.
3v3 now. Baby Bay playing further back.
Tripwire destroyed.
And now things are going to slow to a standstill here, but Baby Bay with the poke around actually ends up seeing a player with that jump up on top of that well to then just look and get some vision. Rock is waiting with this angle if they do decide to push. It will punish Shazam, who will be the initiator. I would imagine, though, that he's going to try and flash this out of the gate, but Rock is brilliant trigger discipline there for him. Still holding on to this angle. 2 players going to be there. Nicely done by Rock. His only player left alive is going to be Dapper. And Raucus makes quick work of him with that Elder Flame up. So they managed to undo what happened in that last round, Gaskin.
Yeah, and you can see the strength there of the op and holding these angles, and the fact that FaZe have been aggressive in the right places. So yesterday they were aggressive in certain areas that left themselves vulnerable, but instead now, when they do get that early pick, they're deciding to be aggressive through middle, just to try and split their opposition a little bit more. Just ensure that Sentinels aren't going to be able to be comfortably dominating mid so they can pick and choose as to where they go. Instead, they're forcing them through these choke points where there is often an op waiting for them, and Raucus has found quite a lot of success, and now Marv getting a little bit of success on his own with the anti-eco frags. Takes down the first two. And we're looking at a 8-3 for FaZe in this first half, and maybe it could even be a 9-3 if we don't see Sentinels rescue something at the end of this first half. But it's all going to be about FaZe's attack. We saw how much they struggled on their attacking side when they were playing Ascent yesterday, both against China Win and 100 Thieves. So maybe it's going to be even more difficult against Sentinels. But FaZe have at least given themselves a really good chance here, even if it ends 8-4, to actually do something on their attacking half.
But as far as Ascent defenses go for FaZe, this has been by and large the best one that they've put together in the 4 games that they've played. They, against China Win, only got 4 rounds, and that came at the end after China Win gave them just a stomping 8 rounds in a row.
Here.
Aggression again, though, out mid. Corey saying, I'm going to use my Empress and I'm going to get in the face of this opposition team, but A-Site is there for the taking. The wall comes up and they are going to get this spike down. And the post-plant positions now can be assessed and evaluated, and they can decide where they want to go. But Shazam will catch one off guard. Can he get a second? That's going to be 2 ultimates he potentially takes down here. Will back off, but he has managed to clear both of those ults, so he's done his job there.
Yeah, now Raucus does bail out of there. We'll have the op does connect, but Dapper is there to support him. Sick is just as we switch, ends up dying. 2 players left up on top of scaffolding. It's going to be Baby Bay along with Zachary, but Zachary just gets minced right through. So does Sick. 8-4 is what FaZe is going to have to accept. It was a pretty dominant last round for Sentinels. They will ride that momentum into this defensive side. Let's see now, as you mentioned, Gaskin, what happens with FaZe. Last time they were on the attack, they just could not figure out how to get into that B site. It's going to be even harder with Sinatra playing the Odin there once he manages to get his hands on it. There's a lot of lockdown potential on this composition, and Sentinels knows how to play defense on this map, and they do it damn well each and every time.
So I'd say a lot comes down to Corey here on the side of FaZe. I said how strong Reyna can be in these pistol rounds. Well, you could potentially be looking at 10-4 if you can step up here, manage to get at least 1 overheal so that you can be in advantage with the rest of the players that are going to be on the map. Probably going to see 1 purchase of a Leah, so after that first Leah is gone, you're unlikely to see another. You are going to need some sort of flashing ability to get onto the site. Zoms is waiting with that paranoia, but doesn't use it, and Sick gets the opener. Baby Bay caught on his own. I wonder whether that's going to be the cue for the rest of the team to get a little bit more aggressive. They are pushing down mid and towards B, going for a little bit of a B split here.
Cloudburst is out. It's going to force them now to just have to accept the fact that B is going to be available. The Lear blocks a little bit of that vision. That was going to be the only Lear that he managed to have. Dapper, though, through the smoke, connects onto Zachary, leaving Zachary waiting until that next round. Spike, though, will be down. Raucus manages to achieve that task. Some extra cash in their pocket. Marv, though, could not achieve the shots there against Shazam. He'll get the better there against his Counter-Strike counterpart. Raucus, unfortunately for him, had to meet a player right at the steps, and Corey in the back is going to get mollywopped, thus leaving Sentinels with this defuse. They gave up the B site. They waited for the moment. Dapper gets that first kill there inside of the smoke. Then from there, they were off to the races.
And we've seen this throughout not just this tournament, but the entire Valorant tournament history, really, is how important it is to know the angles you need to be spraying down through those smokes. A lot of beginning players, once they're smoked off, they just wait because they don't really want to give away their position. They don't want to spam through smoke. But when you know the areas they're going to be pushing, you can get some really influential kills just with a little bit of luck. And yes, it is luck, but at the same time, you make your own luck by actually going for those shots and just being able to take those shots in a game that allowed that round to go in favor of Sentinels because they just had too many players available. As well, speaking about spamming and going for a little bit of luck, Sinatra fires out his recon dart and sees what he can do with the LMG, but Only a little bit of damage, no kills for him. The Sentinels being able to pick up this pistol round, GB, means they're likely to get this second round, and if they can start to build some momentum here and start to snowball, it's going to get harder and harder for FaZe to try and dent the economy of Sentinels.
Back away there, the Lear. All you got to do is break that vision, but he still had the angle. Zombs, 4 kills in an instant. The entirety of FaZe, well, they actually just dissolve as they work their way through the A site. It is not pretty. 2 rounds in a row, and you had mentioned Sinatra with the Ares. That's version 1. You know, version 1 of his master nefarious plan to just spray right down B. And he'll solo hold B there, you can see. And he's going to hold on to this Ares because he didn't die, so there's no reason for him to give this one up yet. It's still going to be quite powerful. Just nowhere near as much ammo, and the damage is quite significant with the Odin too. But the Ares, especially with that recent change that they had, bringing it up to what was it, 1,600 credits, is pretty crazy.
It just means that this B site, there's so much reluctancy to push for it, but now the SMGs and the Bulldog doing the work. A little bit of aggression coming out of Sentinels. They find 3, make that 4. And oh my goodness, kills flying everywhere, and it's only going to be the one remaining player on the side of FaZe, and it is going to be Baby Bay. Will retrieve the spike at the very least. Still 3 players remaining for Sentinels. This is still doable, but they will have recovered rifles in mid after getting those kills. And now he's been spotted out. Location is going to be revealed, and suddenly things get a little bit more difficult.
Well, let's reflect on why that worked out so well. It was a coordinated push at the exact moment that both teams, or excuse me, that Sentinels actually had. They brought 2 players over from Cubby to the double box, looked instantly. Those players were tucked away in mid. And then there was also going to be vision from the middle area right by the arch looking at that top mid spot, so that if anyone tried to push, a Bulldog, which is a great gun to have for that angle at the burst, will just dink you for a few shots and then, you know, you're dead. So I think that it just boils back down. This was the push that I was talking about here, or no, this is actually the final moments already after all that had unfolded. But that is the reason why Sentinels have found so much success on Ascent, is because when they push, they do so with authority. And then also this right here, because while Sinatra can do that same play, and it's a play that a lot of Sovers are going to do when they hold B site, but you can make that play happen with an Ares and a Node, and you can also do it with the Sheriff because you have the high penetration rate of the Sheriff. It's a very, very powerful weapon.
It just means you don't want to push that B site through Garage, so it means you're forced to either take middle or A, and it just means you're a lot more predictable, and it means you can set up around that if you're on the side of Sentinels, as now they can set up for this short push towards A. Zachary will at least get a consolation kill onto Shazam, but here comes the rest of the crew to make this 8-8, and suddenly we're all tied up. And we're all tied up with Sentinels on the defensive half. So I would say that realistically now, advantage goes back over to Sentinels, with FaZe not being able to pick up their pistol round nor an early round. But now they've got another buy. Maybe if they can start to get a bit of money, maybe they need an op to get going as well on their attack inside. They might be able to start doing something. Raucus will have that op available to him. So it's going to be the Raucus versus Shazam show. And that is definitely a show I would buy a ticket for.
Well, you may have to wait a little bit because Shazam's in mid, and we'll meet Corey in a moment. If Corey pokes this, could get clocked right in the face. So no, he doesn't go for it. They dark cover it and back away, bringing Shazam over toward the tree door. While that's going on, Raucus now marches his way over toward mid once again. Marv is playing further up ahead right next to that dark cover. They're just waiting this out. Zachary backing away. Spike down all the way in the back. They're just looking for that first pick to determine where they're going to go. It's essentially going to be a matter of playing for picks. Shazam, though, dangerously low. 11 HP. And the Lear came in out of nowhere. He swung into that. And had he gotten the kill, would have been great for FaZe. Getting the op out of Shazam's hand would have been massive.
He waited there a little bit too long. I mean, he obviously wanted to get that shot through the Lear, but he didn't necessarily need to continuously face it. Sick manages to get a frag onto Marv. And now Sentinels will have that player advantage, and Shazam has been able to heal up to a healthy 100 total. And it means they can reset, they can watch all these different angles, and only 30 seconds left means FaZe need to make a move soon, if they're going to make a move.
And it will be mighty challenging for them to do so. Sick has the cross here. And then Dapper's going to be waiting for them inside of that cubby on site. They're playing so far back They're just letting them. They're telling them, like, I dare you. Go ahead and take site. We'll just stop you. Now, Baby Bay does manage to take the dare, and he will succeed. Corey's going to be wrapping around on the flank of the outside, waiting, and his patience is going to pay off. But the spike is down, so even with the flank there, it is not going to be enough. Those players are going to be stuck inside of that room. But what matters most is getting the round win, which Sentinels does accomplish. Baby Bay had no choice but to save his gun. They were not expecting one, counted 2 players tucked away inside of that B nook.
I think there was just a little bit of hesitancy there from FaZe where they were trying to make up their mind whether they should just save, but they probably felt like it was a little bit of a waste because they still had some time to work with. But by the time that decision has been made, they almost ran out of time. And it's always very risky when you've only got 20 seconds, 15 seconds, because if that spike does go down, then you're very unlikely to be able to get the plant. And of course, it becomes a bit of a panic fest. But we will see the blades popped. And Bladestorm available always offers something a little bit extra, especially on the attacking side. But Shazam getting the opener onto Marv as he tries to creep out through his dark cover. And for FaZe, they're looking at potentially 10-8 now to Sentinels before they get their next buy. Unless they can do something miraculous here on the A side.
That was actually going to be a dark cover from Zoms, which is even more hurtful when you think about the fact that he went through a dark cover that wasn't his. And Shazam also had an op, which the common angle to hold there inside of the nook on Catwalk, you're just taking a peek that just won't really work out. Now, what could work out here is Sick going on the widest flank of all time. Better call the Esports Awards, because this actually might be an award for the widest flank ever. He gets himself 2, looking for another one. Raucus is going to have his blades out, flies up in his face, and he will be able to succeed getting the kill against Sick. Zamzo holding the angle, did give up his position. Shazam waiting on the transition. They'll need to play around these cyber cages here. But they're so low on HP. I mean, Baby Bay has nothing to work with. 18 seconds remaining. Zom's waiting for him. That cyber cage is going to go down. Raucus. Poor Raucus. No real options for him. And that is the 10th round win for Sentinels. They've managed to win, what is that? I want to say...
6.
6 in a row? Yeah, so that's nice.
that is quite nice. No, it is. I mean,
quite nice.
If they win this next round, that's 11, and then the money's going to be reset probably yet again. And it's either going to have to be a force up from the side of FaZe to stop it being 12 and match point for Sentinels. Not just match point, but of course series point. And as a reminder, this isn't the be-all and end-all after this series. There is a lower bracket, so the loser of this series will drop down and will still have another chance in this tournament. At the moment, it's looking like it's starting to edge towards being FaZe, and it looked like it was very firmly going to be that way after the first map, but FaZe have made a big game of this, and it's not over for them yet, especially if Marv can get that opener onto Zoms, and now they can continue this presence. Rolling Thunder will come out, though, and it means Shazam pushes through. Sinatra is there to get one onto Baby Bay, and Sinatra's having a field day with the Odin. No one can contest it right now. Marv, though, doing a little bit of something here. The res is available for Sick, and if Marv can get a 3K, maybe this round is still on the cards.
You never expect the Odin on A site. Sick does get the revive on Shazam's going to bring him back in. He'll go burr right inside of Hell. Gets 1 kill. Looking for the second. That's 4 for Sinatra. And he's been playing that Odin on B site consistently. But the moment that they flanked around and Zom's got aggressive in tree, but then Sinatra followed up with the Odin, you know FaZe was like, ah, crap. We did not think that this was going to be a possibility. And then at that point, the round is basically going to be all tied up for them, and they also get the res, so they can actually save a little bit on their economy.
There was that wide flank earlier, and yep, so FaZe going to eco here in this round. Just the 1 Bulldog available, and unless they pull off a Thrifty, it's going to be 12-8. Hunter's Fury is going to be popped early here, and does he manage to get a tag? Yes, he does. Takes down Baby Bay. May have even connected with a second there. Sinatra with great prediction. And now Sentinels have the player advantage in this round, and likelihood is we're going to be looking at match point, series point for Sentinels. FaZe have made a much better game of this, though. They look like a completely different side than what we saw in Bind. And I think that was all down to just defending first, just to give them a little bit more confidence.
shoulder peek. That actually was great. They knew Shazam was holding that angle. He's been there basically every single round. So because of that, they actually shoulder peeked it at the same time and then force him to actually back away, which will give them the ability to get into the mid area. Sick waiting inside of the B site. Dapper's going to be playing in that same position that he was going to be in beforehand in the cubby. So Sick dies. Dapper will be there to help his buddy out. Shazam caught outside Sick though, and there goes that recon dart. The spike is down. This could very well be match point though. Raucus, a nice constellation kill, will be the last player left alive, and Sick, as he marches up through the steps, will beam Raucus and give them that match point.
Okay, but still not over just yet for FaZe. They've got their money back now. They just need to get one on the board just to try and say to Sentinels, okay, well, you're not going to be able to dominate us too much on your defensive half. But Sinatra has been really a dominating force, whichever site he's been on. This Odin is such a pain in the backside for FaZe right now.
This goes here.
Doesn't matter where they push, it seems like they are just getting sprayed down through various different objects and walls, which is never fun, because it almost feels like it is against everything you know and everything you expect in a game of Valorant. You think you're safe, and then suddenly an Odin bullet right in the backside.
And that's never fun.
Oh no, not fun at all.
No, not fun. Not fun.
Anyone who's experienced it, and many have now, that Sinatra has set this way of also
And there it is.
players.
In the butt, right on the butt, through walls
Right on the
too.
butt.
I mean, that's just that hurts. You see your chiropractor later on. Shazam does manage to connect against Marvin. Zoms finds his against Corey as Corey looked to get into the scaffold. Spike is right in front of Zoms. They do have that slight advantage, but the neural theft is now going to be out. Ice and slowed isn't really gonna be an issue though. They have to worry about Zoms first, and then Sick is there to support his teammate out.